My name's Marlene. I'm 33, and not long ago, my sister decided to teach me a lesson by abandoning my 6-year-old outside a shopping mall. Why? Because I wouldn't give her $40,000 to fund her dream of opening a dog cafe. I didn't scream. I didn't argue. I made a different choice. And 3 weeks later, she lost everything. If you've ever felt betrayed by the people who should have been your biggest supporters, you'll understand this. All I had asked was simple: 1 hour of babysitting. Just 60 minutes on a Tuesday morning while I went to a doctor's appointment I'd been waiting months for. My sister acted thrilled when I asked. Of course, she gushed. I'd love to spend time with Ella. You should lean on me more. I should have known better. People who insist they're the most reliable are usually the ones who prove they're anything but. The appointment itself was uneventful, doctor running late, the waiting room reeking of disinfectant and baby powder. I wasn't worried, but I called just to check in. Instead of hearing Ella's voice, I caught background mall music, cheesy, echoey, buy one get one free mall music. Are you shopping? I asked. Yeah, she said casually. Ella wanted the toy store. Can I talk to her? She's outside. I froze. Outside the store? No, outside the mall. With Cupcake. Cupcake, by the way, is her pampered white Pomeranian who owns more accessories than my daughter. Boots, bows, even a full leather jacket that reads Dog Mom's Angel. You left Ella outside with your dog? The store doesn't allow dogs. And I wasn't about to leave Cupcake in the car, she has separation anxiety. The receptionist was staring at me as I grabbed my coat. You need to check on Ella. Now. She's fine. It's been, 5 minutes. She actually hung up on me. I sped across town, every red light stretching into a nightmare. Images of Ella waiting, wandering off, or worse filled my head. By the time I pulled into the lot, my hands shook. I spotted my sister first, standing at the entrance, cradling Cupcake like a newborn. But Ella? Nowhere. She was right here, she said with a shrug. Maybe she went into a store. I bolted through the food court, breath shallow, until someone pointed toward the bookstore. And there she was. My little girl, sitting cross-legged on the carpet in the kids section, reading aloud to a doll. Calm. Alone. When she saw me, her face lit up. Mommy, look. This one has a puppy. I dropped to my knees, hugged her tight, and whispered, we're going home. Outside, my sister hadn't moved. Cupcake was licking her paw like a diva. You found her, she said blandly. She was alone. So was Cupcake. I just stared. Then she tilted her head. Well, now you know what it feels like. What feels like? Leaving your child abandoned? I meant my baby. She pointed at the dog. I couldn't decide whether to laugh or collapse. Instead, I turned, took Ella's hand, and walked away. Not a word, not a backward glance. But right then, I made a decision. If she wanted to prove a point, so would I. And 3 weeks later, when she showed up crying on my doorstep, she had nothing left. I refused to invest my firm's money. I refused to put in my own. And I wasn't about to pretend to be supportive just to stroke her ego. That's when her whole demeanor shifted, icy, sharp. Here's the part that still makes me want to smack my past self with a rolled-up magazine. I had been bankrolling her lifestyle all along. Not because she couldn't ask her boyfriend, but because she wouldn't. Too much pride. Instead, she leaned on me, subtly, repeatedly. Rent shortfalls? I stepped in. Groceries? I covered them. Cupcake's sudden grooming emergency? Charged on my card. I even gave her a backup credit card for dog vitamins, and she used it to splurge on a $140 hoodie with ears stitched on the hood. Back then, I brushed it off. I had the stable job, the house, the husband. I figured she'd eventually outgrow the phase. Instead, she doubled down. So when she offered to babysit Ella for just an hour, I thought, maybe this is progress. A small step toward responsibility. But instead, she abandoned my daughter outside a mall because her dog wasn't allowed inside. And then, this is the part burned into my memory, she actually said, "Now you know what it feels like." Dead serious. That sentence looped in my head for days. Her expression, her tone. Not a trace of remorse. She wasn't apologizing, she was trying to prove a point. I didn't scream. I didn't blast her online. I didn't even tell my husband the whole story right away. I just cut off her financial lifeline, quietly. Shared card, cancelled. No more rent help. No more emergencies. At first, she didn't notice. That was almost the worst insult of all, that I'd been supporting her so much she didn't even realize when it stopped. A few days later, while I was folding laundry, my phone buzzed. "Hey, just tried to grab a matcha." Card declined. Super weird. Weird, indeed. I ignored it. 10 minutes later, also, the rent payment bounced. Did the bank change something? Hello? Lauren? Did you cancel my card? What is going on? I sent one text back, "You'll need to handle it yourself from now on." Silence. Then 2 missed calls. Then a voicemail I didn't play. And finally, a 5-minute voice note, half of it her cooing at Cupcake, the rest a rant about how I was withholding emotionally. Her words dripped with fake sweetness. "This is what happens when you help people. You give, and they just resent you for it." I said nothing. Not because I was noble, because I was exhausted. But then the texts turned nasty. "You're acting like I committed a crime. You're punishing me for protecting my baby. You've always hated me for being different." Classic her, twisting the story until she was the quirky victim and I was the heartless villain. And, of course, she went public. A Facebook selfie with Cupcake dressed in a ridiculous emotional support fluff vest. Caption: "When your sister cuts you off financially, emotionally, spiritually, but you still have your baby. #priorities #family doesn't hurt." She tagged our mom. And Cupcake's Instagram. I stared at my screen for a solid 2 minutes. Then I opened Facebook, a platform I hadn't touched in months, and watched the comments pile up. "OMG babe, what happened? That's so cruel." For a moment, I considered closing the app and letting it slide. But then I saw one comment, "Wow, who abandons their own sister over money?" That was it. I typed one reply. "She left my 6-year-old alone outside a mall. Ella got scared and wandered off. She didn't notice or care. I didn't cut her off over a dog, I cut her off because I can't trust her with my child." No emojis. No hashtags. Just the truth. Then I shut my phone and went to bed. The next morning? Chaos. Dozens of missed calls. Family group chats exploding. Cousins I hadn't heard from in years sending screenshots. Even my mom messaged, "We need to talk." Apparently, my sister had been crying non-stop, painting me as the villain. But here's the twist, more people than I expected took my side. Cousin Claire, "Wait, she left Ella alone? What the hell?" A college friend, "Dude, I thought she was talking about a breakup. This is insane." Even her dog mom followers commented things like, "You don't leave a child alone." Period. The family chat, usually buzzing, went silent. Then finally, Mom called. "We didn't know," she admitted. "She told us Cupcake wasn't allowed inside. That's all. You're right to be upset. I just wish it hadn't gone public." For once, no argument. That was the entire call. I finally told my husband the whole truth. He just listened quietly, then pulled Ella into his arms and said, "You did the right thing." We talked about backup plans, emergency contacts, vetted sitters. Because family clearly wasn't safe anymore. I booked a new sitter that same day. Ella? She adjusted quickly. Didn't ask about her aunt once, which said plenty. My sister, meanwhile, went radio silent. No texts. No calls. No cupcake updates. Until a few days later when she posted a black screen Instagram story. Some people will destroy your whole life just because you love differently. If you know, you know. I didn't know. I didn't care. But I had this gut feeling, she wasn't finished. And I was right. Because one evening, after days of suspicious quiet, my phone rang. Unknown number. Against my better judgment, I picked up. Hey, it's me. I mean, it's Oliver, right? Her boyfriend. A man I barely knew. I'd only met Oliver twice before. He always smelled like the kind of cologne people wear after a breakup, and he called Cupcake my girl like she was royalty. "Can I ask you something?" he said. Sure. Did she really leave Ella alone at the mall? I didn't sugarcoat it. Yes. With the dog? Yes. And for how long? 10, maybe 15 minutes. She acted like it wasn't a big deal. Said Ella made Cupcake anxious. Silence. Not even breathing on the other end. Just dead air thick with disbelief. Finally, he said, "Okay. That's all I needed." No anger. No excuses. No defending her. Just, that's all I needed. I figured that would be the end of it. Maybe I'd hear from a cousin a week later, or my mom would reach out. I wasn't expecting what happened instead. My sister posted a photo of an empty dog bed on her story. Caption, "Lost everything." No tags. No explanation. Just melodrama. Then my mom texted, "Oliver left her. Took Cupcake. She's devastated." I stared at the message for a full minute, then burst out laughing, alone, in my kitchen. Not because I'm heartless, but because sometimes reality delivers a punchline you couldn't script better. Cupcake, the baby, the brand mascot, the emotional support animal she prioritized over a child, was gone. For 2 glorious days, she vanished from social media. No posts, no rants, no latte foam shaped like paw prints. And then, the knock came. 3 sharp bangs at the door. I didn't even need to check the peephole. I knew. She stood there in sagging sweatpants, oversized sunglasses, and a hoodie that read "Dog Moms Do It Better." Hair yanked into a bun that screamed existential crisis. "You ruined my life," she spat the second I opened the door. "Hello to you, too. You turned everyone against me. You made me look like a monster. You left a 6-year-old alone outside a mall. Because I wanted to prove a point. Mission accomplished." Her eyes narrowed. "You've always thought you're better than me." Ella peeked around the corner. My voice softened immediately. "Go upstairs, sweetie. Now." She didn't argue. Just nodded and slipped away. "You don't get to come here yelling in front of my daughter," I told her. "Oh, spare me the Mother of the Year act. You're not perfect. You prance around with your little job, your house, your husband, like you're better than everyone." She waved at my living room like it physically offended her. "You humiliated me," she snapped. "You told Oliver. You made him take her." She couldn't even say Cupcake's name. He asked. I told him the truth. "You destroyed my relationship." "No," I said flatly. "You did that yourself." She stepped closer. I didn't move. "You think cutting me off makes you the bigger person?" "No. It makes me someone who finally learned how to say no." She just stared, waiting for an apology, maybe a tear, anything. I gave her nothing. You've always looked down on me, her voice cracked. Now my whole life. No. I just kept hoping you'd grow up. And I waited longer than I should have. Her breath hitched right as my husband appeared on the stairs. He didn't speak, didn't raise his voice, just stood behind me, calm, steady, undeniably present. That's when she broke. You've ruined everything, she sobbed. Everything. My life is in pieces and you don't even care. I do care, I said. I care about Ella. About keeping her safe. About teaching her that abuse covered in glitter isn't love. Her face twisted. Well, you made your point. You think you're so strong. No, I said softly. I just stopped making excuses for you. She trembled, turned on her heel, stormed off the porch without another word. A week later, my mom called. She moved back in with us, she said quietly. She's not doing well. She keeps telling everyone you ruined her life. I exhaled slowly. Do you think she actually believes that? Mom hesitated. I think she's just never been used to consequences. Since then? Nothing. No apology. No accountability. No half-baked business pitches. Ella never mentioned her again. Cupcake, on the other hand, is thriving. Oliver posts her in new sweaters, and apparently she even went on a pause and reflect retreat at a dog-friendly cabin in Oregon. Me? I'm not angry anymore. I'm exhausted, sure, but also free. And for the first time in years, that's enough. It's been 3 years now. Ella's 9, obsessed with space, black holes, Mars rovers, constellations. She tells people she wants to be an astronaut who fosters rescue cats. I told her I'd help with the rocket as long as she figures out the cat logistics first. We haven't seen my sister since that day on the porch. She lived with our parents for a while, then pivoted into some luxury pet wellness business, chakra-safe chewables, crystal-infused dog shampoo. I wish I were joking. These days, we're still no contact. No calls, no texts, no pop-ins. My parents don't push it, and I don't ask. We're polite, careful even, but there's an understanding now. I won't pretend it didn't happen, and they won't pretend she's blameless. They still see Ella on birthdays and holidays. They try too hard sometimes, but they're showing up. And that counts for something. Ella hasn't asked about her aunt in years, not because she's hurt, but because she's filled that space with better people. So have I. Our lives are steady, simple, full in the best ways. And my sister? I don't miss her. Not really. I miss the version of her I hoped for, the one who never existed. But I don't miss the chaos. Sometimes, I still wonder. Did I do the right thing? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more stories like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell.